Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Crypto Hipster Podcast. This is your host, Jamil Hassan, the Crypto Hipster, where I interview founders, entrepreneurs, executives, thought leaders, and amazing people all over the world of crypto and blockchain. And I am in for a treat. We are all in for a treat today because this is my first ever Polkadot guest. I'm really excited. It's been a long time coming. I have an amazing woman here today. She is, I'm going to get this right too, the global program director of the Polkadot Ambassador Fellowship. Her name is Lucy Coulden. Lucy, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Jamil. Pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have you. Awesome. So I'm going to kick things off, and I'm going to ask you first. I ask everybody this. You get amazing answers, by the way. What is your background, and is it a logical background for what you're doing now?
Yeah, so I really like this question. Is it the logical part? Because one of the great things about Web3 is there are so many different pathways to how people have ended up here. Met probably some of the most fascinating people I've ever met in this space. So actually, I did a quick jot down of kind of how I got here because I've not really done that before. So I don't know. I'll let you be the judge of if it's logical or not. So it started off. I come from a medical background. All of my family, parents, etc., are medics. So growing up as a kid, that was my intention. That didn't happen. I did a history degree instead, which is one of these degrees that sort of doesn't have a very straightforward path. Graduated in the economic recession, 2009. So quite a lot of travel. I did a lot of sales, recruitment. I kind of started on this journey of picking up, which I didn't realize at the time, but lots of transferable skills. So this sort of jack of all trades career, I would say, started. So, and then I found my first home in finance, in private equity, as working alongside the HRD there, so the Human Resources Director. I've always worked with, from that point on, always worked with very sort of high-flying executive types. I guess completely the opposite, you could say, of Web3. But, you know, these people, sort of people that were shaping the future in their space. So I think I had a very high drive and sort of aptitude for learning from an early kind of stage. So this is where I'm seeing the logical part come in. So yeah, I worked alongside CEOs, C-level executives of all types for about 8 years in the private equity space, and from then I moved on to a brief stint in the world of fintech. So I guess that's where I bridged. And I worked for Nicholas Zenstrom, who founded Skype, at his venture capital firm, Atomico. And then from there, I found myself working for a company called Improbable, which was a gaming company and then transitioned into metaverse. And then from the metaverse, I found myself in blockchain, and I started at Parity Technologies, which is the engine room behind Polkadot, you could say. And I worked for the co-founder and now CEO Bjorn Wagner for 2 years before we fully decentralized, and Parity shrunk back to the engine room because it had become quite a large centralized body. And I threw myself into the community on the ground. And so yeah, I think it is quite logical in some sort of ways, but it was a mixture of figuring out what I was good at, what I enjoyed, and I guess a lot of it is who I am as a person as well, because I think that very much dictates where you are in this space. It's more of a lifestyle for many people, I'd say, than a job.
That sounds perfectly well. It sounds logical to me, and it actually sounds pretty smart. So, you know,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah. So,
Haphazard, but I'll take smart.
yeah, smart. Yeah. Haphazard too, but I love it. So, Polkadot. I'm glad Polkadot, after years of cancellations, really I'm glad you and Polkadot have decided to talk to me. This is awesome. So I want to find out, what's Polkadot all about, including your role, your mission, and your vision.
Yeah. So Polkadot is, in the briefest terms, a fully decentralized internet, where different blockchain networks can seamlessly communicate and interact with each other. So this allows the free flow of data, tokens across various blockchains. So it's something that's rather different to other blockchain protocols. So it ultimately is what we see as the key behind the real user controlled, like fully decentralized, sovereign Web3. So individuals owning their own digital identity and data with no sort of centralized control. So rather than these sort of isolated, siloed blockchains that we've seen over the past few years, Polkadot's primary focus, one of their primary focuses, is enabling interoperability across all ecosystems. So this creating of a unified but decentralized Web3, rather than lots of individual chains all sort of working on their own thing. And so Polkadot's vision, interoperability, security, obviously hugely important. I think we only a couple of weeks ago saw the latest what can happen when things aren't secure with the 1.4 billion hack. And then scalability. A lot of what Web3 needs to be able to do, and what Polkadot is one of the sort of leading protocols in that space, is the ability to scale. And I'm not a dev, I'm not a technical person. I learn as much as I can every day. I get by, and I feel like every day I'm getting by a little bit better. But as the working with the Polkadot Ambassador Fellowship, we take these sort of mission and vision statements into what we're working on with community. So interoperability, everybody being able to work together within the ecosystem and cross ecosystem. Decentralized, we have, although I'm program director, one of two, it's our job is to provide a sort of framework and guidance in these early days. We've only been around for a couple of months. And so we're building a sort of onboarding, rewards and recognition, learning. So a sort of framework that people can then take and they can adapt to their communities, to their individual interests. So it is fully decentralized, but with these sort of hubs that we hope people will sort of build on their own, and then scalable. So it will be the first on-chain decentralized community in the world. I say will be because we started 2 months ago, so we're still refining the palette, or the piece of tech in which this is built. Trying to use non-technical words. And once that is up and running and we have sort of put that basic infrastructure in place, we will be opening the doors to anybody. Any individual can join the program. All they have to do is open a wallet, Polkadot wallet, lock one dot, and verify their identity. And they will be officially an on-chain member of this fellowship. So we hope that, in the years to come, we will have tens of thousands of people, if not more, a part of this community. And it's how do we, just like with the technical side, how do we cope with scaling? How do we not lose the core of what we're doing? How do we not lose the security? How do we not lose the values? So I think the main technical principles on which Polkadot and the technical fellowship, which was started by Gavin Wood 3 years ago, to bring all the kind of best minds in the technical space to innovate. That's what we are. We're taking those same vision and mission values of Polkadot, of the technical fellowship, and we're bringing it to the community.
Awesome.
It was a very long-winded answer. Hopefully that was helpful.
It was. I'm surprised that your ambassador program is only 2 months old.
So we've had an ambassador program in various forms since 2019. So obviously I think pretty much every chain has their own program. I think people know the Solana Superstars well. They do some great things. Cardano has a sort of a smaller, more concentrated, dedicated program. Avalanche has a fantastic sort of events program with a really cool global map where you can see what's going on at any time. And we've always been about being open to all. And so one of the problems with that is the size and the scalability. And that's something I don't think we've quite got right yet, but we've had different iterations that have led us here. So I think in 2019, there were 5,000 ambassadors, but only about 100 of them were active. And then, so that was program 1.0. Then we had a revitalization of the program, 2024 last year, where somebody put through a proposal in our open governance system, which we'll chat about later, I'm sure. They put in a proposal to appoint 21 elected head ambassadors on a sort of a full-time salary, and then those people would build a program to then onboard senior ambassadors and ambassadors. That didn't work exactly as planned for a number of reasons. Firstly, a lot of the people that you would want and were elected into a program like this have full-time jobs or commitments elsewhere. So as much as they're putting as much as they can in, they have other commitments. So getting that kind of full-time commitment is quite difficult. Plus, there's obviously the kind of the bureaucracy that comes with creating essentially a small centralized body to run a program. So what we did is we took all of the learnings, all of the Polkadot voices, the feedback, the what went right, what went wrong over those 5 years. And Sean Tabrizi, who's one of our lead engineers, has been around for forever in Polkadot, works at Parity. He had sort of brainstormed this idea about this sort of this potentially huge community that could be on chain and that could be supportive of all types of individuals. So whether it's full-time, whether it's a couple of hours here, whether you lie dormant for a little bit, whether you're a CEO of, Microsoft, but you want to come and, learn about Polkadot, you can come in at the early ranks. So we brought all of this together and we wrote a 19-page manifesto, which is, but it's sort of by the community voices. And we laid out exactly what we were aiming for: mission, vision, goals, ranks, etc. We tried to make something that was as robust as possible to be scalable, resilient, etc. And so that's how we've ended up here with the ambassador program, or the ambassador fellowship that we have. So it's the best of everything we've had before and all of the learnings that we've experienced. And so we hope this time we might nail it on the head. But it will always be an iterative process because it is a program by the people for the people, and that's the thing that we need to protect most highly.
So I think when I hear you say resiliency, thought leadership, consistency, all these positive things, I think the vision for your program matches your blockchain.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you were helping developers, right? You're helping build the future of blockchain developers. And there are some critical blockchain industry initiatives in 2025. I want to find out how you're positioned to address them. One of them you mentioned is Bybit, reducing the hacks. But what are the other important initiatives in the industry this year, and how were you well positioned to address them?
So I think one of the things that we are seeing spoken about extensively, and I was actually on a panel at East Denver that was it was called The Human Algorithm: Building the Soul of Crypto. And so it was supposed to be about, sort of my my area of expertise, so community building. But actually, the two people that I was on the panel with both talked about digital identity rather than community. But I think it really highlights the fact that this is the topic of this year, I would say. So the shift, Web3 is obviously the shift towards user-owned internet. But as it continues to gain momentum, we're seeing more and more of these decentralized identity solutions, allowing for self-sovereign, so self-owned sort of credentials. So taking away the ability of centralized companies to harvest your data, sell your data. And I'm not sure how many people are really aware of every time you sign up for something online that you're giving, you're signing a waiver many times to give away your data. You don't know what they're doing with it. People are doing with it. Obviously, we had this all came up in the last few years, but it's really the key focus. It seems that lots of people are working on this sort of idea of Sybil resistance. Well, that's the other part, the proof of personhood. So there's holding your own data, and then also proving that you're a human who has this data. So that they're the two sorts of things. So Polkadot has a couple of really exciting projects that are sort of leading in this space. One of them is Kilt Protocol. So that's we call it a DID, so a decentralized identity protocol. And it lets users create verifiable self-sovereign credentials that can be used without the requirement to expose any of their personal data to centralized authorities. And then Frequency, which is a project by Frank McCourt, who is publicly in the TikTok camp at the moment. So we have a leading bid for the acquisition of TikTok's North American operations. And Frequency, headed up by a guy called Braxton Woodham, is a decentralized social media company, and it's developing a blockchain on Polkadot to provide infrastructure for a wide range of social media platforms. So one of its aims is to eliminate the unchecked practices of harvesting data and sale of data, as I spoke about earlier. So that's become so common in the Web2 space. I think as I said before, I'm not sure how many people realize, even with the targeted ads and everything, your phone is kind of listening to you, all of this sort of stuff as well. And once they have your data, what they can do with it. So those are the sort of the proof of identity. Then that's the data. Then there's the proof of personhood. So this aims to solve the issues with bots as one of them. So bot-driven manipulation of data, of services, if you've ever been in a queue for a ticket for an artist or a festival you really want to go to, so many of those people in the queues are bots, for example. That's a real human example. Also things like online gambling, poker, etc. You'll find a lot of bots in the system. There are lots of much more sort of industry critical things that need to be addressed as well. But I think they're two real life kind of examples that people will be able to understand. So yeah, proven personhood aims to solve these issues and pave a way for a more transparent and fair decentralized ecosystem. So I'm going to get this right. Proof of personhood is a cryptographic method to verify that digital identity represents a human being. And I think Gavin uses the example of Demolition Man, where the guy takes the eye out of the other guy and uses it to open a door, whatever it does. So we are looking at lots of different ways that you can do this. Currently, we have the tattoo. You can actually get yourself tattooed and have it. So it has a code underneath it. The tattoo is of a blackbird, which is the Kusama, which is one of our networks to build on. It's a little bird, and you can have it however you want. Then it has a little code underneath, so you can be scanned wherever it is on your body. So this is what we're playing around with. But one of the most important reasons for this is on-chain governance, airdrop distributions, and sort of decentralized reputation systems. So we're helping to fight those to fight for those causes.
Awesome. Yeah, you just reminded me of something. I have a Facebook crypto hipster page. Crypto hipster talks blockchain and Gen X, and I get occasional messages in my private message DM that I am in violation of the trademark rules and laws on Facebook, and actually own the trademark crypto hipster, right? So they're trying to scam me and have me click on stuff here, and I'm like, my last time I was like, I usually ignore it. I was like, bring it on. You know, bring it on.
Yeah, I like that.
But
yeah, it's unbelievable how much that like, but you just get used to it. I think most people, myself included, you just get used to not having your own data, and it just, you get used to having these personalized ads, or you've had a phone call with somebody or exchange messages, and next thing you know, you're being advertised something. But I think it's important that we remember that's not normal and could be pretty dangerous.
Well, the thing is, I thought about it afterwards. I was like, Facebook could shut me down for any time they wanted to,
Yeah.
But on Web3, they can't, right?
Yeah.
So, how was, and you said an important word earlier, you said it, sovereignty.
Yeah.
So how is Web3 rewriting digital sovereignty, and especially like when like the Facebooks of the world control the supply of everything? How do you break through that and break it down?
So this is where I am going to take the opportunity to speak about our open governance system, because this part of Web3 really excites me, and I think it's something that everybody can get behind and see the benefits of. Obviously, the technical digital identities, blockchain use for banking, all of these things are incredibly important. But to your kind of everyday person like me and many others, the governance is something that has real. It's easier to understand because we all understand, governments, voting, etc. But it's also something that you can get involved in, like right now. Like as when you're listening to this podcast afterwards, you can get involved in the open governance system, and you can start having an impact and having a voice. So the Polkadot is owned by the people. The Polkadot Treasury has over $200 million, including stable coins, currently in it. Obviously, that goes up and down every day with market impact, but it's a significant amount of money, and anybody with a Polkadot wallet address can apply for funding through this open governance system. So if you wanted, Jamil, to do the Crypto Hipster podcast Polkadot series, you could plan out what you want to do. You would write a proposal and you would post it on our open governance system. Then anybody within any dot holder at all, doesn't matter how much or how little dot you own, can have an opinion and can vote on your proposal. And there are different tracks that you can go down depending on how much you're asking for, depending on if you're asking for money or if you're asking for a sort of system change. There's a whole plethora of things you can do. And depending on that, there is a period of time which voting happens over. It's usually for the bigger proposals or most proposals 28 days. And if by the end of that period you have a majority of over 50%, then you are voted in, and automatically the on-chain mechanism kicks in, and you are awarded either the finances that you asked for or the change in the system that you asked for. So it's really cool. We see so many different proposals coming through. We see technical proposals, marketing proposals, business development, investor relations, branding, naming. We had when we brought out the concept of elastic scaling, people were talking about Polkadot 2.0, and Gavin Wood didn't feel that Polkadot 2.0, he thought we should wait until we've actually implemented it before we do a name change. And so lots of people in the community were talking about different things. So somebody just put it on chain. Shall we call it Polkadot 2.0 now? And it was voted yes. So that was it. The narrative was set by the community, which is super cool. So this open governance system is an opportunity. It's a gateway, I would say, for anybody to come in and see how, Web3 is rewriting sovereignty, digital sovereignty and individual sovereignty. And also through the system, bad actors and regimes are sort of paralyzed to exert any control or undue influence in ways we've seen previously. So there's no sort of centralized corruptible bodies within Polkadot, which makes it extremely unique and, back to our word, resilient in the blockchain world. So we're constantly, it's only, I think OpenGov is 18 months old. So we're very much in our nucleus stage, and we're getting things right, we're getting things wrong, but we're constantly iterating and adapting to see how we can really make this system, because by human nature, we are corruptible. We like money, we like power. So we are constantly looking at different methods to outweigh, to give the smaller voters, for example, more of a voice, because it still has to be a meritocratic system. It's not one person, one vote, one person, one vote. So you do have people with greater voting power, but so we constantly looking at ways of how we can bring encourage smaller voters pools to form bigger pools, and how to sort of counteract those bigger voters. But I say it's any iterations, any changes, any developments can be suggested by anybody in the community. So it's everything is for the people, by the people, which is what I love about this particular protocol. What I love about Polkadot.
You got me thinking now.
I can see on your face. Yeah.
I saw where there was a podcaster who submitted, I think it was last year, who submitted a proposal and then got a series of shows. So I gotta after we're done, I gotta think about it. Like it sounds really promising. So awesome. Cool. So I want to talk about something else related, and that's Polkadot University.
Yeah.
Right. Why should people attend Polkadot University? What are they going to, and why especially people new to crypto attend Polkadot University and then begin their sovereign, career?
Yeah. So education is at the heart of Polkadot and of the Polkadot Ambassador Fellowship. And the university is the Polkadot Blockchain Academy, which kicked off in September 2022 in Cambridge. And it was an in-person course only back then. So it was in Cambridge, Buenos Aires, Berkeley, Hong Kong, Singapore, and they did a 4-week residential course. Started off with a course just for developers, and then pivoted. We're always pivoting, always learning, and it pivoted to have a founders track as well. So sort of less technical, still coding involved and things, but sort of for people who already had established businesses or like fledgling businesses, or sort of wherever stage they were. But it was more of teaching other skills, sort of how to kick off your business as well as how to code and build it. So that then came to an end last May. So not the last in-person one, but the last one where it just focused on these 100 students residential course, and we created the PBAX. So that's the online version of the Polkadot University, and that just finished its first cohort in January. The second cohort starts on the 14th of April. Not sure if you can still sign up, but people should definitely have a look into it. It's a 4-week course. I am signed up to do the second cohort. I've been told that I will be able to do it. I will find it challenging, but be able to do it. So I will need to report back on whether that's correct or not, but I should be. And then excitingly, there are other strands now being built to this. So obviously Polkadot is it's a technical protocol. So we want to be, building the future with new devs, new engineers, new founders. But we also, in this decentralized world we're now in, that we fully embraced, we also want to help to develop and educate people who are also in different spheres. I think it's taken a long time for the industry as a whole to recognize the importance of marketing, business development, design, branding, investors, etc. So we're constantly looking at developing new courses that can that sort of have the core PBA at heart, but also bring in sort of newer skills. So with the fellowship, Polkadot Ambassador Fellowship, we are partnering with Polkadot Blockchain Academy and working on a course for our sort of our more entry level ranks. So it will be even simpler than the PBAX. So that's really going to go out to the masses, we hope. And then there's another course which kicks off at the end of April, which is for policymakers. So there's going to be an on-site retreat for British and I'm not sure other policymakers globally, or if we're starting with just UK policymakers, but to start to help educate governments on what we're doing and the importance of the Web3 scope. So the Polkadot University started off as one thing in 2022, and now we find ourselves 2.5 years later with this huge this huge network of education for various different people. So I think those that are new to crypto, now there is a space, or we are creating spaces across the board. So if you're a dev, you should definitely sign up for either the residential courses, which we still run, but they're just less frequent now. I think we're doing them once a year rather than 3 times a year, or the PBAX for those that have a bit of knowledge but want to know more. And then we'll have the new PBA course, which is sort of for anybody. So we're trying to find those gaps and fill them, because the mission really is to work across the entire space and to bring as many people into it as possible, not to keep it, the kind of the secret of the few anymore, but to educate the many.
I love it. I love it. I saw a metric the other day where it was like the top 9 influencers like all crashed out from the last cycle to this one. I'm like,
Yeah,
they're not doing the marketing the right way. They're
yeah,
not doing the PR the right way. It's
yeah.
important to do it the right way. So it sounds like you are. So that's great.
Yeah. And it's the masses. It's bringing in everybody so that we, and that will help regulate the market. In my opinion, like these kind of huge ups and downs of the market keeps lots of people away. The more people we have actually using the services and tokens, etc., the more we can regulate that. But it's also about bringing in talent from other spaces. So like people in government, people that work in finance, people that, are marketing whizzes, but they don't have a blockchain background. Because I think what we found is it's been a very slow trickle of external talent coming into the market. So like a CMO, chief marketing officer, was, and I think still is, incredibly hard to find in this space, to get somebody who has that real deep marketing experience but can translate it into blockchain. And we need to find a way to make it welcoming. One of those ways is kind of regulating and looking less gambly. One of these ways is, and most importantly, is helping such individuals to understand the real gravity of what we're doing here, to make it more, attractive for them to want to, give up what they're used to and bring their skills over here, because I think we're desperate for them. We need to broaden in all senses of the word.
I agree. Wonderful. Awesome. I wish you continued success, and I'm interested to look back a year from now and see where far you come. So that sounds awesome to me. So I want to thank you very much for your time today, for speaking with me. I enjoyed this, and I have one last question.
Yeah.
How can people find out more information about you and about the ambassador program at Polkadot?
Yes. So Polkadot.com has everything you need there for Polkadot, all of the kind of the guidance of where things are. The ambassador page is being updated as we speak. So new information will be on there by the end of the month. To get in touch with me, I am at Lucy Coulden on X. So please ping me anytime. Very happy to DMs are always open. We're setting up that infrastructure, as I said. So it's a super exciting time to be part of the Polkadot Ambassador Fellowship, but even more exciting time to just be part of the Polkadot ecosystem in general. We are, we're working on what decentralization really looks like on the ground. So setting up, help desks and setting up frameworks to make it easier for people coming in to navigate, because decentralization is a mad landscape and it's super fun, but it's also really intimidating. So over the next few months, you're going to see less and less of this sort of asymmetry of information and more cohesion, but in a decentralized fashion. So website and Twitter, follow Polkadot on Twitter as well. We do a lot of our external kind of conversations out there, and the Polkadot Discord, which is actually the perfect place for anybody who from a kind of more, I guess, slightly technical perspective, or not technical, but maybe a bit more cyberpunky. It might not be, for your mum or for your, CEOs of your Web2 companies, but it's a great place to go and hang out and learn. And the Ambassador Fellowship is the place to come if you want a little bit more, if you want the nice, soft, fluffy stuff that I can offer. So the mentoring and the guidance to kind of really immerse yourself in this space.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thanks so much, Jamil. Thank you.